Hey guys, welcome to the Logical Latte, a channel dedicated to giving you a jolt of logic within the political sphere.
How would your coworkers, peers describe you?
As somebody who never gives up.
Wow, never gives up. And we are at a crossroads and a point right now where he is going to have to abide by that rule of his and never give up on this, because this is going to be a tough fight. I really don't know what's going on with the election right now. I am just as confused as most people. If you are on the internet, on social media, reading the blogs, reading the news, listening to your friends, all the things, you don't even know. You can be in such information overload that you don't know what to think, what's going on. And it is an interesting time to be into politics because it does feel like a David and Goliath moment where it just seems so insurmountable. I am not sure how this is going to play out. If you voted for Trump and you are on the Trump team, then you have an uneasy feeling about this election. There is nothing that you feel good about because you saw the crowds, you saw the momentum, you saw the excitement, and you just knew that he was going to win. And you didn't believe the polls. You didn't believe what the news media, what the mainstream news media was telling you. But if you were a Biden supporter and you were, on the blue team, then you just took what the media was telling you as the gospel and you felt like this was going to be an easy election because, of course, everybody hates Trump, right? Just in your own echo chamber, amongst your friends and amongst the people that you know, I would probably venture to say that you just assumed that, the 17-point lead given, by the media that Biden had over Trump in like Wisconsin, for instance, was a given because, well, gosh, Trump is just so bad and so terrible. And, I don't know. So I think it depending on where you started 2020, that's pretty much where you ended up. So you've either not liked Trump from the beginning, or you have, and you are, I think those two sides are really solidifying. But it's interesting because if you're taking all the information in from the media, from the blogs, from social media, and you're really listening to it, it's hard to not see the craziness that's about to unfold in front of us. And it is something that we're going to take a look at because when I think of Trump winning and going through the court system and, either having some votes not counted because they were unconstitutionally cast, I have a little bit of uneasiness with that. I do. I have uneasiness with the thought that for the next 4 years, assuming that that's how he wins the election, the next 4 years, they're just going to say that he's an illegitimate president, that he won only because he had votes thrown out, this, that, or the other, and it was the Supreme Court, and that's why he stacked the court, and that just looks ugly to me, and that is not the direction that I hope this goes down. Granted, it would be a legal direction, and not everything done in the courts and through the legal system seems like ideal. But if that's the way it has to happen, that's the way it has to happen. And, that's the beauty of our country. We're like the most litigious country on the planet. So, why wouldn't we be litigious at this point? And we have the most litigious president that has ever been in office. So why wouldn't we be litigious with that? But, here's a couple things that I think are interesting that make me wonder if the left is just trying to hold off a little bit and not, I guess, celebrate too much before declaring Biden the president. I know that the social media has basically said it's a done, it's a sure thing, it's a good deal. My question is this: if it's such a sure thing and such a done deal, why hasn't Kamala resigned from her Senate seat and so they could start the process of getting a new senator in her spot, considering that the Senate is so close? I'm not sure how California does what they do, if they have a special appointment or if they have to have a special election. But if they have to have a special election, then that's something that they obviously should want to get going as soon as possible. I guess another thing that I'm curious about is all of Obama coming out this weekend and doing an interview with 60 Minutes and calling Trump basically a dictator by saying that because he's not conceding, that he is doing anything he can to stay in power. And my question with that is it's been 2 weeks and we don't necessarily have a winner. None of the states have been called that are legitimately giving Joe Biden the 270 electoral votes. There are lawsuits going on for Pennsylvania. There's recounts going on in Georgia. There's issues where they still haven't finished counting, and I'm not even sure why they haven't finished counting in Arizona and Nevada. So he literally hasn't been given the 270 electoral votes to be announced as the winner of the presidency. So I'm not sure why everybody's rushing to jump the gun and say that Joe Biden is the president and let's all rally around him and, oh my gosh, Orange Man bad because he hasn't conceded yet. Well, Hillary Clinton spent the last 4 years not conceding, and Stacey Abrams hasn't conceded yet in Georgia, where she lost by over 50,000 votes or something crazy like that. I'm not even sure what the number was, but she legitimately lost. Her votes were certified as her having lost, and she still hasn't conceded. So can we give Donald Trump a few days, please? This is ridiculous that we're even having the discussion that he's some sort of dictator because he hasn't conceded the election yet that hasn't been certified. There's one more thing that I found interesting that happened today. There was a letter written by a House of Representative by the name of Jody Hice. He is the ranking member of the subcommittee on government services and I'm sorry, government operations. And they basically put out a letter that confirms that there is no president-elect right now. And so the GSA has not started to do the transition to Biden because of all the things that still are unsettled. And so even the House of Representatives is sending out a formal letter saying that things are not clear yet. And until things are clear, we're not going to set up the transition from the Trump administration to the Biden administration. So I'm not sure why this is such an issue or why we're even having so much of a discussion about it. Let's let the process roll through the legal system and the counting and all of the things to make sure that we get the president that the people voted for. So when you have Obama coming out on 60 Minutes and making these accusations about Trump being a dictator, and when you have social media flagging almost every post that the president makes, and I just feel like the propaganda that is being pushed is very, very clear. That they are trying to push a narrative that to me has not been complete yet. So my thought on it is that we really just need to take a step back. There's nothing that's making us rush into, getting everything going for Joe Biden. He doesn't take office until January 20th. So let's take a step back. Let the legal process roll through, let the countings and the recounts, follow through, and let's get this certified before we start jumping the gun and jumping to conclusions. Because I do feel like we are going to be on a pretty rocky ride over the next week to 2 weeks. and only time will tell. So that's about all I have for this video. I think that once we get a little bit more clarity of where the legal challenges go and where some of the recounts go, we'll be able to have a clearer space in our head to go ahead and see who will be our president come January 20th. Okay, well, that's about all I have for today, guys. So make sure you like and subscribe to my channel, and we will see you in the next video. Thanks.